Jaya Girivardhana Gopi Janavardhana Jaya Girivardhana Puranandana Janarandana Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhana Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhana Yashodananda
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam namaskritya naram chaiva narantamam devim saraswatim vyasam tattvajam virayet nastaprayet vabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamashloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. Okay. Okay. From here, reading from our family business. Okay. When Srila Prabhupada penned his 7 purposes of ISKCON, marking the official inauguration of his movement in the West, he included as the 7th and final purpose the way to achieve all the society's other purposes, with a view towards achieving aforementioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. Those among Srila Prabhupada's disciples and followers who have embraced his instruction to distribute his books are now passing that same order on to the next generation. By accepting the order, ISKCON members are benefiting both themselves and the world. So, it was to keep his spiritual master's order alive that even before he had ample quantities of books or the facility or manpower to sell them or print more, Srila Prabhupada concentrated the attention of the earliest members of his newly formed society on his books. Shama Sundara Das, who joined ISKCON in 1967, tells how even before ISKCON presses started rolling, Srila Prabhupada publicly read from his books every day and painstakingly explained their contents. Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay. We're reading from the 7th canto, chapter 4. Text 42. Sautama Shloka Padara Vindayo Nishevaya Kinchana Sangha Labdaya Tanvan Param Nivrittim Atmano Muhu Ram Nivrittim Dusanga Dinasya Mana Shamam Vyadat Sautama Shloka Padara Vindayo Nishevaya Kinchana Sangha Labdaya Tanvan Param Nivrittim Atmano Muhu Dusanga Dinasya Mana Shamam Vyadat Dinasya Manam Sautama Shloka Parara Vindayo Nishevaya Kinchana Sangha Labdaya Tanvan Param Nivrittim Atmano Muhu Dusanga Dinasya Mana Shamam Vyadat. Okay, word for word. Saha, he, Prahlad Maharaj. Uttama Shloka Pada Ravindayo. To the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is worshipped by transcendental prayers. Nishevaya, by constant service. Akinchana, of devotees who have nothing to do with the material world. Sangha, in the association. Labdaya, obtained. Tanvan, expanding. Param, the highest. Nivrittim, bliss. Atmana, of the spirit soul. Muhu, constantly. Dusanga dinasya, of a person poor in spiritual understanding, poor, due to bad association. Manaha, the mind. Shamam, peaceful. Vyadat, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, H.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Because of his association with perfect, unalloyed devotees who had nothing to do with anything material, Prahlad Maharaj constantly engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet. By seeing his bodily features when he was in perfect ecstasy, persons very poor in spiritual understanding became purified. In other words, Prahlad Maharaj bestowed upon them transcendental bliss. Purport. Apparently, Prahlad Maharaj was placed in circumstances in which he was always tortured by his father. In such material conditions, one cannot have an undisturbed mind. But since bhakti is unconditional, ihaituki apratihata, Prahlad Maharaj was never disturbed by the chastisements of Hiranyakashipu. On the contrary, the bodily symptoms of his ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead turned the minds of his friends, who had also been born in atheistic families. Instead of being disturbed by the torments of his father, Prahlad influenced these friends and cleansed their minds. A devotee is never contaminated by material conditions, but persons subjected to material conditions can become spiritually advanced and blissful upon seeing the behavior of a pure devotee. I'll just read the translation again. Because of his association with perfect unalloyed devotees who had nothing to do with anything material, Prahlad Maharaj constantly engaged in the service of the Lord's lotus feet. By seeing his bodily features when he was in perfect ecstasy, persons very poor in spiritual understanding became purified. In other words, Prahlad Maharaj bestowed upon them transcendental bliss. Okay, if you want to join me in the Mangacharan prayers. Om Jnana Timandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Shagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaitam Surato Pango Mama Manda Matyagati Matsavasva Padam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano. I was born in darkest ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes with the knowledge of absolute knowledge and pure love. I therefore offer him my obeisances. Ukam karati vachalam pangum lagate girim yakripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum dinataranam. I also offer my obeisances unto the spiritual master, my spiritual master. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimakte Bhaktivedanta Swami Miti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivesesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Satarine. Last but not least, I offer my humble obeisance to all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. By your mercy, I shall speak the truth, which is always kind and useful. Anchakapa Taribhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Maru Maru Vachi Maridi Sparanti Sarva Sarve Savakarishu Marvam. Okay. This is a very nice verse about Prahlad Maharaj and his relationship with Hiranyakashipu, his father. This verse actually talks about basically the power of association, right? Prahlad Maharaj had many associations. So he had an association with God, Krishna. And he had association with his father, the demon, Hiranyakashipu, and his friends at school, his schoolmates. It's funny that we're living in a world where most people have associations with the material world, the material energy, and we, luckily, thanks to Srila Prabhupada, are having association with the spiritual world, I hope. And the problem is that the association with the material world is like being in a spider's web. It just entangles you more and more. Whereas in the spiritual world, you will find a different kind of mentality and feeling. For example, in the material world, when someone is successful, he or she tends to take all the glory for himself, saying, "I did this and I did that." Yeah. In the spiritual world, instead, when something good happens, and you, for example, if I don't burn the porridge in the morning, I say it's God's mercy. We say it's God's mercy. Or when you do kirtan, it comes out really perfect. You say, you give all your gratitude to God. Now, in the material world, instead, when something goes wrong, there's always a question: why does this happen to me? Where is this God that they all speak about? For example, instead, when something happens to a devotee that is not too favorable, we tend to say, "Well, I deserve something worse. You know, I'm pretty lucky that this is only a sample of the material nature that God is letting me suffer." I think if you remember when Jesus Christ was on the cross, and Prabhupada once said that he was a great Vaishnava, Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And this is a true sign of a Vaishnava. Now this thing about suffering and not suffering, I think it's Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, the great Jesuit priest, and this is not because of my schooling; it's something my father instilled on me. It said that we're not material beings having a spiritual experience, but spiritual beings having a material experience, and it is really up to us to choose to make that spiritual experience favorable for our own benefit. Now, the thing about spiritual life is that you do not confront bad or good situations in joy, jubilation, or depression. It just continues. You come rain or shine, a devotee is always a devotee. We're in the Srimad Bhagavatam, I believe Shiva tells Parvati that whether in heaven or hell, a devotee is indifferent to and equiposed in all that they are really interested in is to get on or carry on with their seva. Now, the power of association is immense. That's why Srila Prabhupada created ISKCON. It says International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Society is defined as where, or another definition is association. It is when people get together to do something common that they all believe in, and which is also in their favor. Now, in this text here, Prabhupada explains about the power association and also devotional service. The word that he used for devotional service is, or rather the text says, is nishevaya, which means by constant service. The Bhagavad Gita tells us the result produced by devotional service. It's chapter 14, text 26. Mamchayo vyabicharena bhakti yogina sevate san sagunan samat tityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. It means that by pure devotional service, you actually transcend all the three modes of the material world, and you come to a stage or level of Brahman. Now, this is what we are all here to do. We are here to progress or advance in our spiritual lives, and to do this, one needs that very important ingredient, association. Okay, sangha, of elevated pure devotees. Now, it's why, because it is what you call it. What's the English saying? Safety in numbers. We live in a terrible place. I don't know if have you seen the film The Matrix with Keanu Reeves. Okay, the Matrix was a simulated reality, and this is what the material is. It's simulated reality, but it's actually not created by some computer. It's created by our desires, and the thing in order to stay away from our desires, we need to associate people with like-minded people who are actually looking a way to get free from our desires. And that's what I think in the Matrix there were a couple of characters. One was Neo and I don't know, I can't remember, Trinity, and the group of them were actually freed from the Matrix. Now we can see that association is very important by Prahlad Maharaj. He actually learnt his constant devotional service by associating with devotees, and Shastra actually recommends that there's no way to advance without good association. Prahlad Maharaj is a very good example of how association is so powerful. I don't know if you know the story, but there was a war between the demons and the devatas. And what happened was the devatas kidnapped the Prahlad Maharaj, who was pregnant, his mother, who was pregnant with him, in order to destroy this child, because they thought any child of Hiranyakashipu would be even worse than he was. Now, their intentions were thwarted by our great intergalactical preacher, Narada Muni. He actually intervened and he said, "You're not to do that. I'm taking charge of this mother with the child in there." And so he took her back to his ashram and began to preach to her. In fact, he was instructing her in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in doing so, he actually was preaching to Prahlad Maharaj. And this association actually is what constructed the foundations for what Prahlad Maharaj became, a great devotee. So the powerful, I think it's Prithu Maharaj explains in Canto 4 about the power of preaching and the sound vibration. Now, Prithu Maharaj explains that when a pure devotee speaks, the sound that he produces, or the sound vibration that he produces, actually touches the saffron particles of Krishna's feet, right? And this renders that sound even more powerful and purifying, and therefore the pure devotee is someone who is what the word used here was akinchana, okay, without any what you call it, any material desires. Am I right? Yes. Okay. Akinchana. Of devotees have nothing to do with the material world. So this way, when a pure devotee speaks, and Prabhupada was the prime example, and so are all our gurus today in ISKCON, their voice become very potent, okay, because of this saffron particles or dust at Krishna's feet. It is so powerful that it can transform the heart, yeah, and this is why we try to be constant and consistent in our devotional service and our relationship with God. We associate with Krishna every day by chanting japa. Okay, that's the greatest association you can have. We associate with Krishna when we honor prasadam, or when we clean and wash the temple, when we read Srila Prabhupada's books. You perform any puja. Now, but the easiest way and the most powerful way is to talk to his fellow devotees. It is said that even if one is materialistic, by associating with a pure devotee, one's condition can change, and one can also become a pure devotee. And this is confirmed by Lord Kapila in his teachings. Now, Prahlad Maharaj in this verse, it just shows how much he has what do you call it? He's demonstrating by his association. But it's just not enough just to associate with God yourself. It's not yours to have, it is for you to share. The best medicine in the world, it is said, is the association of devotees and their availability to associate with people. That's why Lord Chaitanya, when he was on this planet, he encouraged his devotees or his disciples to go out and meet the people. So they would go door to door. I think some of you do this for Sankirtan. And a devotee doesn't wait for Sangha. He doesn't sit there and say, come and look for me. I'm so wonderful. He actually goes out. You don't hang around. You go around and you chase after the materialists because they like to be chased. Okay, and this is the mentality of a materialist. Why are you chasing them? Because you're chasing to instruct Krishna consciousness. And Lord Chaitanya said there are three things. You should give three things to anybody you meet: a holy name, the worship of Krishna, and Krishna's instructions. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote a song. It's called Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. I think it's a song. I can't remember the name of the song. Prabhu, do you remember the song? It's a Bengali song. Yeah, it's this one line was in that song. And this way, the instructions of Lord Chaitanya and Krishna are being passed down by sound vibration. Because if you think about it, nothing was actually put down in black and white until 5,000 years ago by Vyasadeva. Everything was passed down by sound. Okay, and that's where the Shravana and Kirtana is so important. So I think we must remember that in the material world, we're in enemy territory. Okay, we have been set free by Srila Prabhupada, who's like the Neo in the Matrix. Okay, all this information and knowledge about the truth helps us to avoid, even evade the influences of the material world. And what we should do is not only have association, but to create association. Association is so important. I mean, this is what like what we're doing this evening, for example, in Om Sweet Om. Devotees here, giving them the holy name, and we're teaching them about Krishna. So association is not about our personal association with Krishna, but it's about making contact, okay, making an effort and making it last. And this is what ISKCON should be about. And we have Prahlad Maharaj to thank for, because later on in the fifth chapter, the thing that he tells us about the 9 processes of devotion, okay, which includes Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc. Now it is said here that we must try to attain bhakti, which is unconditional, which is aituki apartihata, and therefore not be disturbed about anything that can happens around us. So that is my talk on the power association. Any comments? Any observations? Yeah. So,
It seems that the art of association
yeah.
is quite a challenge for a person who takes a Krishna consciousness
Yeah.
and goes through slightly better views.
Yeah. 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 That's why we should maintain our association with elevated devotees or constantly. And um, and that's where the word acharya comes into play, doesn't it? Because you are we don't walk around I am something like that. We don't have name tags, but it's by your behavior that you show you show the qualities of an elevated devotee, I believe. Mm. Yeah. That is that is a common, how you call it, behavior when one doesn't use Shastra Chakshu, I believe. I think we a lot of times we let our mind run wild, and we think we can see the truth. We should see the truth through Shastra. Prabhupada always said that. Otherwise, the mind will just speculate, and speculation is very easy. And the whole material world is about speculation. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, well, it's you, but you can also see by the how they speak, devotees. It's not about my success, or I done this way and that way, but it's about how grateful they are. They have been given that service to do. I believe, and but I understand what Maharaj is trying to say there. It's a very deep point that. Yeah, it's the thing is that to the that's why we got to create more devotees, because um, then the what you call it, the material world doesn't have that majority control. It's almost like a voting public, where if the majority what they call Prabhupada called demon crazy society, democracy, where the majority rule. But and I think we have to get the majority on our side, because then it'll be harder for for Kanishta Adhikaris to actually judge um, people on a material level. Instead, they should be, they get more, they can see more of the spiritual level by which they should actually, place their judgments. Okay. Yeah. But that's what we're here to do, to spread Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Right. To reduce it. Yeah. 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 But I think that really depends on the quality of our preaching, doesn't it? A lot of the time, I mean, sorry? Shishikora Nitai, Maikosashi Ki. But isn't that the case? I mean, I'm probably speculating. Yeah, if you boil the milk, what do you call it, too much, you can also burn the milk. Because it's good to have a good quality of devotee. But then if you set the bar too high, then maybe nobody will come in. I mean, I'm talking. I think that's my worldview on ISKCON at the moment. It's setting the bar too high for a lot of people. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know you didn't say that, but I'm saying that if you boil the milk too much, then you can burn it. No. 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 Yeah. No, you can't. You can't say that. But you can frighten people also. I think you got to adjust yourself in your relationship, your association with people who are coming into the movement. Yeah. 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 But if you're also practicing Krishna consciousness, then you should demonstrate your compassion, because not everybody is ready to be Krishna conscious, are they? I mean, they got some people can reach a certain level and that's it, and they can't go further. I mean, we have to take that point, into consideration as well. The thing is, I'm saying that if you boil the milk, when you push people too far, also, I've seen people being pushed out of the Italian yatras because they're forced, or they're asked to go that step, too much ahead for them. I think you got to take each individual case for what they are. Not you can't just blanket everything with one standard. No, I'm not. I'm saying that. I'm not saying Prabhupada said that. I'm just. They can be, yes. They can be burnt out. I think I've seen devotees in Italy that have dedicated 40 years to their what you call it, their consciousness, self-realized consciousness and devotion, and but the thing is, they don't get the devotee support after that 40 years, and this is something that I think is wrong. I think it's I think temples should recognize their service. I mean, to give 40 years to your life is like working for a company for 40 years, and yeah. I mean, this devotee care didn't come into my what do you call it, my view until I met Guru Das Prabhu, who is the husband of Yamuna Devi. See, and he came to Italy to try and encourage temples to have projects where you look after your long-term devotees, and not just abandon them when they get too old and they can't go out and preach and distribute books and all that. It's almost like what materialist people do. They love things and use people. We should love people and use things. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've seen fall downs of sannyas, so I mean, yeah, true, but they're supposed to be even higher than that, I think. Or yeah, I think I shouldn't really be talking about that sort of thing, because I'm not really that. I'm still aspiring Kanista Adhikari. I've got a long way to go. Yeah. 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 Right. Yeah. That's. I think that's probably because it's a long shot for me. I don't even look at that. I think it's yeah, it's true, but it's I think it's every individual has his own what you call it processes, isn't it? I mean, it's not what you call it, a jet stream that you just everybody just get into it and you'll shoot up the. It's a very individual situation. Many lifetimes, I think, not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He did promise that, but I don't think everybody looks at it that way, because it's not easy. Even yeah. If you keep you chant and you keep the regulative principles, yeah. But the thing is, I always think about the regulative principles, and I think it's it's like any crime. It's not actually what you do; it's the intention that you do it with. And I don't know if if you're really keeping the regulative principles, if your intention is what you call it, polluted. Oh yeah, sure. I mean, that's yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why you that's why I said you have to make an effort in anything you do, and this is the thing. It's how much effort, how much opportunity you can to exercise. Make an effort. I don't. I mean, it's easier for me now because I'm in pension. I think it was harder being a devotee when I was working and running around like a bottlenose fly, blue bottlenose. It's I but I found that association is very powerful, because I abandoned all my karmi friends, and including my family, because they I think I couldn't face the what they couldn't see, because it's not easy for them to see what I can see, or what I'm associated with, which is Krishna consciousness. it's, I think you, it's a big commitment. I don't know how many people. Not everybody. It's not everybody's cup of tea in that sense to give everything to the movement. I mean, we are all here because we're giving everything to this realization. I mean, I mean, for example, I have friends that just became vegetarian because of me, but they just told me we can't make the other step and go into that your mindset and what you the faith that you have in what in this movement. Maybe because a lot of people, especially in Italy, who are completely jaded spiritually by the Catholic Church, and they've seen the hypocrisy that it still exists and it's being covered up. I'm saying that because because I was brought up a Catholic, and I went to Italy because I thought I would find real spirituality in my faith before, and I didn't find it, and then I understood it from my friends when they couldn't make, but I keep in touch with them, but in a very distant way. I tell them, I encourage them to go to the temple and visit and have prasadam and all that, and that's all I can do for them. I can't do any more. So, Prabhu behind, you want to say something?
Just reading the purpose of education from Vishnu.
Yeah.
Prabhupada said that second pillar of the devotee, don't fall down.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Those who fell down means that they were Kanishta tribe,
Yeah.
but they couldn't read that they are in Kanishta, Madhyama, or Kanishta even Dhamma.
Well, it's like,
Those who fall down, all the rules that there,
yeah.
were not
Yeah. But the question is, I always ask, did they really fall down, or did they just slipped and then caught themselves? I mean, I don't know many of them anyway. This yeah. 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 Right. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, yeah, well, that's quite logical. Yeah, yeah. This taste. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that progressive thing it's still very subjective, isn't it? Yeah. I'm talking about the person that you're trying to make progress. You can't force someone to progress. It's very, yeah, true. I think most devotees would like to, or everybody wants to go back in one lifetime, but it's how they're made to feel. Yeah. Yeah. Is that 21 feet? Wow. Yeah. That's about focusing, isn't it, on the thing? Yeah. That's why there are very, very, very few that will go over the bar at 21 feet, I think. But then it's written in the Gita, and that out of so many thousand and millions, only one person becomes a pure devotee, and out those pure devotees, maybe I don't know how many. There's only one that actually achieve. No, it's just about yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's. I don't think it's a case of being lazy. It's about not seeing yourself in that position. I don't think you can. Yeah, you're probably right. I've got like. No, I'm not. I do. No, I do see. I do think that. Yeah. 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 Right. But when I'm not saying that you're talking about me, but I'm saying that I think if I'm doing that, progressing like that, and to go to higher and higher, but I don't think that I have enough time in this lifetime to do it. That's it's probably just me. I'm not talking about what you're saying. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the good thing about association, the power association. I mean that's why this verse is so important to encourage people. Sorry, Alan, you said something to say? Yeah.
And then he acknowledged that all the amazing powers and strength he got was from Krishna.
Yeah.
So all the things that he didn't think he'd be able to do, he was
Yeah.
able to do.
Yeah.